But swiping it, swapping it, spending it on dumb shit, man, you don't want to do that, man. Credit is so powerful, man, and as a young man, I didn't know how powerful it was. You be trying to maintain a lifestyle that you can't even fucking afford. You spending money, spend, trying to look cool on Instagram, trying to look cool for your bros, trying to look cool for your chick, trying to drive that car, trying to live in that apartment when you can't even afford it, bro. A lot of y'all niggas be living above y'all means. A lot of y'all niggas ain't really having it how you say you having it or how you portray you having it, bro. Hey, how can I increase my income? If you don't like the way you're living, with living below your means, that means work harder, my nigga. YouTube, what's good? It's your boy Cry. Welcome back to another vid. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for the algorithm. And make sure to follow me on all platforms that I am Cry. Today we got a great woman. I'm gonna share with you guys 4 simple financial secrets I wish I knew sooner, fellas. So on this journey to become 1% man, on this journey to improve ourselves, on this journey to be the best that we can be. Yes, it's important to be in shape. Yes, it's important to be communicative. Yes, it's important to know how to treat women, understand women, have a relationship with God. All those things are important, but it's also important to have your finances together, fellas. Right? Not only to provide, but also to have the freedom and live comfortably, right? And not being wise with your money, fellas. So as we grind and as we become a 1% man, as we doing our deep work, as we increasing our income, it's important to know these 4 secrets that I'm gonna share with you today. And I wish I would have knew these sooner, man, because I would have been a lot farther than I am now. But without further ado, man, we're gonna get right into it. So number 1 is credit. So what is credit? Credit is basically trust. Credit is the relationship that you have with banks that allows them to loan you money, right? And the way to build relationships is to prove to them that they can loan you money and that you'll be able to give them the payments back on time so they can get a return on their investment as well. There's 3 main bureaus for us. You got Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Depending on what you're trying to get approved for, it can vary on what they check. But it's important to have the highest score possible for all 3 bureaus, fellas. So the 4 main components that go into credit is payment history, which is about 35% of your score. Then you got utilization, which is about 30% of your score. Then you got credit age, that's about 25% of your score. And then you got inquiries, which is about 10% of your score, right? So inquiries is, let's say you applying to get a car and they run your credit. You don't want a whole bunch of inquiries. The higher amount of inquiries you got, the lower your credit gonna be. So it's very wise to just don't be applying for every credit card. You wanna be strategic with your inquiries because it can decrease your score, right? Then you got the utilization, right? So let's say that you have 4 credit cards, right? And you have $10,000 between all of those credit cards, right? And you then use 5,000 of it, right? So your utilization is 50%. You wanna keep your utilization under 9%. Growing up, my parents, I love them to death, and people around me taught me to keep it under 30%. But if you want to have the best chances of increasing your credit, you want to have it under 9%. So for that same example, if I had a credit limit of $10,000, I want to keep that under $900 at all times to maximize my credit. Now, if I need to use it, if I need to leverage it to make more money, that's fine. But just keep in mind, you know, if you are about to apply to something, if you know you get an apartment and they checking your credit to make sure that utilization is below 9%. Then you got on-time payments, right? Then you got payment history, which is the most important, right? So it's basically just on-time payments. Are you paying your car note on time? Are you paying your credit cards on time, right? Any bills that you have that are being reported to the credit bureaus, you want to make sure that you pay them on time. This is probably the easiest way to fuck up your credit, fellas, right? Because again, it's all about trust. How is a bank going to trust you if they know you're not going to pay your shit on time? Right? So my recommendation, man, depending on your income, have your shit on auto payment, man. If you use your credit card, have it on auto payment so it's automatically deducted. But missing payments, man, is one of the simplest ways to fuck up your credit. You want to make sure that all your payments is on time. The last component, credit age. This is the one that you have the least control of, but there's certain things you can do to finesse it. So credit age is just how long you've had the accounts on your profile. So it gives you a range from your newest account to your oldest account. That's why, depending on what's going on in your life, you want to be careful opening up new accounts because it's going to decrease your credit age, right? But you can invest in trade lines, right? Like it was a point in time when I was an authorized user on my grandmother's account, right? On my grandmother's American Express. And she had the card for 20 years, like 20 plus years. So that went to my credit history account, right? So I had about 1 year credit history, but adding that, it made my credit length 10 years. Right, so that's something that you can do as well. Like if you have somebody in your family that doesn't mind adding you, but that's risky because if you miss a payment, this fucks up they shit too, right? So you can do that, or you can just buy one from somebody, right? They have different things online that you can buy. Then they'll show up on your credit history. It'll boost your credit length. Credit is extremely important, man. Mistakes I made is using credit, using that motherfucker useless, man. I remember I had a Capital One credit card, fellas, in college, and I was swiping the fuck out of that motherfucker. I had about 500 on that motherfucker, was swiping it, spending it on dumb shit, man. You don't want to do that, man. You want to use credit to either get points and you leverage those points to buy whatever you want, or get credit to use credit and leverage credit to make more money, right? I'll give you an example. Like if you have an American Express card, American Express has certain benefits that if you swipe it a bunch of times, they give you points, and you can use those points to fly for free. You can use those points to buy clothes, right? So you always want to use your credit card if you have one over a debit card, if you have perks and different things with points, right? It's a term, OPM, other people's money, right? You never want to invest and make large business decisions with your income. You always want to use other people's money, right? So let's say I'm trying to start a vending machine, right? And I want to get 3 vending machines, and they $1,500 a piece. That's $4,500. Instead of taking the $4,500 out of my pocket to buy the vending machines, I can leverage my credit, buy those vending machines, right? Get them set up, get the food for them. Once they pay it off, I put that money back on my credit, right? And all I got to worry about is making that minimum payment month to month while I'm getting in the green with those vending machines. Right? Does that make sense? Rather than using your own money and then just being in a hole, you want to use other people's money, man. Credit is extremely important. So don't just be swiping the swipe, man. Be very cautious and smart with your credit, man, because it also can save you some money, man. Like credit is something, that these banks look at when you're going to get a car, when you're going to get a house, right? So you want to be very careful, man, because if you have good credit, you can get a lower car payment. Your down payment for rent might be lower, right? Your mortgage might be lower, right? And these are all things that are very important. Like one thing you got to understand about money, even with taxes, man, and money in general, like they reward people with the best financial discipline and the most money, right? The poor motherfuckers that's being dumb and unwealthy and have an unwealthy mindset that's just swiping that motherfucker, doing what they want to do, missing payments, right? They're not able to reap the benefits of being smart with your credit, right? Of getting a nice car and only having to pay a $400 a month, or getting a nice house and not having to put down a huge down payment, right? Those are just a few examples, but man, credit is so powerful, man. And as a young man, I didn't know how powerful it was. Some of y'all might be educated on credit, right? But your shit is fucked up. So let me give you some tips on how you can improve it, man. There was a point in time when mine was really fucked up. I invested in Lexington Law. It's a great company that got my shit together. I also worked with a dude named, it's called The Credit Dude on Instagram. Check him out. He's dope as well. Both of those programs is about $100 to $125 a month, but they will clean your credit, bro. And one thing about credit, man, that's why you got to be so cautious with your payments, with your history, with your inquiries, with your utilization, because it takes time to get it back on track. Like you're not going to get your credit back on track in a month, right? You're not going to get your credit back on track in 3 months. It takes at least 6 months for you to see a drastic shift in your credit, fellas. As far as apps to check your credit, man, you can use Credit Karma. That's a baseline, easy app to use. But I recommend getting the Experian app because it goes more in depth with your scores. Like the Credit Karma app don't always be accurate, and I believe it gives more of the Vantage score. But the Experian app gives your FICO score, which is what most banks, bureaus, and people that's gonna be checking your credit look at, the FICO scores. And you can see those between TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax if you use the Experian app. And it's about $30 a month, fellas. Credit is extremely important, man. Don't fuck up your credit as a man. It'll fuck you up and it'll set you back, man. So be wise, take the tips I just gave you. Make sure you make the right decision. Number 2, emergency fund. So this is twofold, fellas. On one side of the coin, every man should have at least $1,000 saved up for a rainy day, right? $1,000 is just untouched unless you have a complete crazy emergency, right? Like your fucking car breakdown, your leg break, right? Maybe somebody passed away in your family. You got to help with a funeral. You got to make an emergency flight. You always want to have $1,000 on hand. for anything that could go wrong at any time, right? I can recall many times as a young man where I was just being dumb with my money, spending, and then something very important happened and I didn't have the funds to get through that situation, right? Because I wasn't saving my money, right? So you want to make sure that you got at least $1,000 saved, fellas. If you don't have $1,000 saved, take a little bit of your income that's coming in bi-weekly, add it to your savings, add it to your savings, add it to your savings till you get to that $1,000 mark, bro. You should always have that. That should be a non-negotiable. On the other side of the coin, you should always have at least 6 months of expenses in your account, right? So, what are expenses? Expenses is what needs to be paid, right? So it would be like your house, your car, food. Those are probably the 3 main expenses, right? On a month-to-month basis. You need to have 6 months of that in your account saved as well, right? So if your expenses is $2,000 a month, you need to have $12,000 in the bank, right? For anything that could go wrong. Right? Like I remember around COVID time, everything was going left. People was losing their jobs. People was getting laid off. I recall certain times in the past, I was about 19, 20 and I lost my job and I didn't have no expenses saved up. I'm struggling to make ends meet. I'm getting behind on my credit all because I wasn't prepared for the worst. Right? So this is an emergency fund. 1 for your expenses and 2 for a rainy day. Right? Very simple, but it's so effective, man. You want to be prepared for all situations. And how you do that is to save, bro. Number 3, and this is probably the most important, man. Live below your means. All right, live below your means. What does that mean? So an easy way to think about this, fellas, is this a rule called the 50-30-20 rule, right? So that means that 50% of your income goes to your expenses. 30% of your income goes to leisure things like eating out, clothes, traveling, entertainment, and then 20% will go into saving and investing, right? So let's break down a paycheck. Let's say you get paid $1,500 every 2 weeks. That's $3,000 a month, right? You don't want your expenses to be over $1,500. So that includes your car, that includes your house, that includes how much you're spending on food on a month-to-month basis, that includes your gym membership. Everything that you need to survive should not be over $1,500, right? A lot of times, man, and especially in the Black community, and especially me younger, like you be trying to maintain a lifestyle that you can't even fucking afford, right? You spending money, spend, trying to look cool on Instagram, trying to look cool for your bros, trying to look cool for your chick, trying to drive that car, trying to live in that apartment when you can't even afford it, bro. Right? That's why it's so important to increase your income, to be on your purpose, to grind, to be working 60 to 80 hours a week, to do your deep work, right? To work your job from 9 to 5 and then work on your business from 5 to 9, right? Because you want to maximize your income so you can live below your means and still live a nice lifestyle, bro. A lot of y'all niggas be living above y'all means. A lot of y'all niggas ain't really having it how you say you having it or how you portray you having it, bro. It's better to really have it than to pretend that you got it, bro. And I'm not speaking to you from a place of, oh, I'm perfect. I'm speaking to you from a place of relatability. I used to do shit like that. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I used to have a lot of friends that was doing shit like that. Friends that's on Instagram, online, living a certain life, but behind closed doors, they asking me for money. They living paycheck to paycheck, right? You don't want to do that as a man, bro. It's a rabbit hole that you're gonna keep going down and down and down and down. Have some discipline, bro. If you living by the 50-30-20 rule, bro, and you unhappy with the kind of car you got, you unhappy with the house you got, you're unhappy with your lifestyle, all that means is to do more work, bro. Right? That's all it means. That means you need to go harder. That means you need to figure out, okay, how can I increase my income so I can afford a $3,000 a month apartment, so I can afford a $1,000 car note. You dig what I'm saying? Rather than spending all your fucking money, the whole $4,000 paycheck on your expenses, now you can't really kick it like that. You can't really go out to eat. You can't take a girl on a date, right? Because you can't invest in a mentorship, right? Because you're being dumb and you're overspending, fellas. You got to be wise with your bread, man. Always live below your means. The last and final point, increase income over investing. I'm not telling you to not invest your money, fellas. What I'm saying is that a lot of times, man, we focus on investing when we haven't even maximized our income, and you're not going to make a lump sum amount from your investment unless you're investing a lump sum amount of money, right? Like motherfuckers investing $50, $100 a month you feel me, on a fucking crypto or real estate, like that's not doing shit for you, bro. That money you need to be spending on learning a skill, right? Whether it's going to school, getting a mentorship, you need to spend that on learning a skill to increase your income so you can really make a lump sum amount of money before investing. One thing that goes along with this, bro, is investments are risks, bro. You can invest in real estate, you can invest in crypto and that shit and be in the red and shit go left. Right? And now you done used all your money on an investment and you're not even earning that much to be spending any money on that. Right? So I would definitely recommend, man, at least making over 6 figures before you making any type of crazy investment, because you're not going to see that much churn on your investment that's significant. It's going to get you out of your situation. It's going to get you out of your 9 to 5, bro. You need to focus on speed and execution with maximizing your income first, making the most amount of money you can, and then invest, right? Because another thing with investments cost money, bro. Them crypto coins don't be cheap, right? Real estate is not cheap, right? If you're not leveraging your credit, that might be coming out your pocket. So you want to maximize all the money that you can make and then invest, man. A lot of y'all penny pinching with investing. I promise you that's not doing nothing for you. Now, if you're saving money into like a Roth IRA or something that can compound and that's just your savings, that's cool. But I know some people be like, oh, how can I invest? How can I invest? And they making $30,000 a year. Like you're not doing nothing for yourself, dog. You need to be spending that money on learning a skill, bro. Another thing I be seeing too is like niggas be investing and their credit is fucked up. Why don't you spend that money on cleaning up your credit versus investing in some shit, bro? Like you gotta clean your plate before you can get more food, right? Niggas be trying to get more food and they still got food in their fucking plate. So it's important to first clean up your credit. You know what I'm saying? Then get you an emergency fund, $1,000 save for a rainy day and 6 months of expenses saved for if the worst happen, right? Then you got to live below your means. If you don't like the way you're living with living below your means, that means work harder, my nigga, right? And then increase your income and then invest, fellas. Those are the 4 financial secrets I wish I knew sooner, man. That's the video for today. I love y'all. Peace.